Alright, I know this is something very, very strange and potentially maybe different than what we usually talk about on this channel, but considering that I did talk about Rushia before with the graduation and stuff, I kind of want to, talk about Rushia again. So, this is the thing with the whole Mafu and, Rushia or Mikeneko or whatever you want to call this whole thing, honestly. Now, I'm not going to refer to the whole situation because people have done that already. They've done that. I'm not going to repeat the same jargon and all that type of stuff that you heard of before. But I will definitely go over some points that, I want to talk about that was kind of interesting and just my thoughts of the situation overall. Now, I'm not going to sit here and just be like, this is fact, this is what happened. This is still alleged speaking. This is just allegedly. So anything from this point forward in the video, it's just speaking out of things that could potentially be the truth, right? So that's just kind of what this is. And when it comes down to it though, I am not necessarily some type of lawyer or anything like that. Just in case somebody want to be on some bullshit, right? This is just my opinion, nothing more, alleged speaking. Anyway, so when it comes down to it though, it does indeed seem like Rushia potentially is an asshole. Not gonna hold you. It kind of feels like it a little bit, right? Mafu went on this, I think, live stream, at least from what I've heard, and essentially basically was talking about the whole situation about the marriage and, how things were and gone into great detail with it. And there was like a questions and answer thing with it. I want to say this was a Corey stream. I'm not necessarily sure. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Which, feel free to correct me in the comment section if I got some things wrong when it comes to the situation. Because I am an illiterate asshole. I don't know half of the things that goes on. This shit is calculus to me. But when it comes down to it though, there was talks about, Rushia potentially, trying to see if this man is cheating. Mafu is cheating and stuff and try to keep track of him and shit. Which Rushia did later today actually confirm that some of this stuff is true, like that part was actually true, but just, mixing things in with her own stuff as well, right? There was definitely talks about being inexperienced in dating on Mafu's side, definitely had like a whole, seeing somebody else have a thing going on, which, that was also a thing that Rushia ended up doing, or at least claiming that happened and stuff like that as well. And as I'm just listening and watching and hearing all this shit, I'm just like, bro, there is several moments in this whole thing where I'm just like, yeah, I would not be folding this damn hard. I am not necessarily somebody that has been in a relationship like that, or at all, really. But even I know I will not be disrespected, right? Like when Mafu bought a whole ass house for her to live in, and basically was like, yeah, we could do this, we could live together, essentially. But then she's like, no, you don't live in the house that you bought. You stay your ass in the rental apartment. And so, out of respect, he ends up staying in that rental apartment. And that's the first sign of disrespect. Can I keep it a stack with you? I'm just like, if I buy a whole ass house, for us to stay in, especially once we are basically married now, I expect to stay in the house that AJ Styles built, huh? I expect to stay in that house 100%. But you don't want me there after the marriage and all that type of stuff? That's disrespectful as shit, right? Can I keep it a stack with you? That's hella disrespectful. So that's already number one. In fact, if I knew this is how you're gonna be, I wouldn't have even bought the damn house to begin with, nor would I have gave you the engagement ring or anything like that. I ain't gonna lie, there are some trash ass women that will do this shit. It's not all women. There is definitely some lovely ass women that's out there that is really dang good. But there is some trash ass women that's out there too. You need to be careful. Not all women are waifus. Let's just keep that a stack. So when it comes down to things though, that's already like, what, the first bad sign I've seen. Then there was also in that same dialogue and talking, because I was watching this with Kyo, with how he was going about the situation just recently, and essentially there was a part of it where Mafu was saying that there was like some opposition against the relationship. Strike number down 2. Alright, now don't get me wrong, I do feel bad for Mafu if this is true. However though, you should definitely consider the opinions of some other people. Like, if there is some weird shit going on and they are telling you that, hey man, Rushia seemed like an asshole, you might not want to get with that bitch, or something like that, you might need to, roll shit back. I know this might be your first love interest and all that type of stuff, but if someone is telling you that you might need to back up a little bit because something ain't right, hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right here, right? You might need to do that a little bit. It might look good, it might sound good, it might taste good, hell, it might even feel good, but if it's not truly good, then you might need to step back a little bit, right? And again, inexperience comes into play, and that's completely understandable, and I get that. I relate to that, unfortunately. But when it comes down to it, though, it is what it is when it comes to it. Like, especially if you have that one good friend that tells you that, yeah, shit may not be as sweet as you think it is, you might need to consider that one friend, be like, alright, I'll keep watch on it, at least do that much, right? So that was also like a whole nother thing that kind of ends up happening, right? And then there's also like another part of discussion where apparently Rushia has been like hurt by other guys, and so that's why she was hella sus at, suspected that Mafu was could potentially be cheating. Women, not all guys are assholes. I'm sorry to break that illusion for you, right? Can I break your immersion on that shit? When it comes down to it, not all guys are assholes. There is asshole guys that's out there, but not all of us are assholes. Like, there ain't all perfect women out there. There's a lot of trash ass women that's out there, but not all women are completely trash, right? Let's keep this an absolute stack with each other. You just gotta find the right one, and this is where I'm gonna straight up tell you, you just gotta have a good bit of discernment within you to tell if this is a good guy or this is a bad guy or anything like that, right? It's not nothing that you can learn in a book. It's not nothing that you can be taught. Or really can be taught that a little bit, but it's something that you yourself have to have an idea. Is this a good decision or a bad decision? Because if it's a bad decision, you've got to make the worst choice of your life. If it's a good decision, then hey, it might be the best thing you ever had. So definitely when it comes to it, especially in the game of marriage, you need to make sure absolutely that even with all the problems that your partner might have, or things that you might go through with them, if there is any problems, you definitely gonna have to have a discernment. Can you handle this type of stuff? Or is this something that you really think is worth you going through this whole marriage for, right? That's another thing when it comes to it. So you got to keep that much a stack when it comes to it, right? You really do. And that's like one other thing when it comes down to it, So you just gotta learn how to discern which person is good and which person is bad, especially if you're dating them. It's like kind of key to understand who they are as a person, much less what kind of secrets they potentially could be holding that could jeopardize your relationship. It's important to kind of know things about your partner. Like, no one does that now because everybody's thinking about sex, but yeah, don't get wrong, the cheeks might be great, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the ultimate approval of a good relationship. That's not how that works. Call me a boomer or a very woken person or something like that, but that's not what determines a good relationship or not. We gotta speak to each other. We gotta be around each other. We gotta at least understand each other, right? I'm not gonna just drop the pants and let it go. Like, shit, I would, but still, nonetheless, it's not something that you should do. So you gotta just discern people, honestly. Then, obviously, again, the whole keep in check on Mafu in case of cheating, which honestly makes me think of the whole Goku and Frieza pose. How Goku was just towering over Frieza. I'm like, if you're asking me if I'm cheating this damn much or keeping that much attention onto me, I'm looking at you like, Goku, like, bitch, are you doing the same thing? Like, are you doing something that I should be worried about? Like, because it feels like that's what this should come down to. You might be doing something else that I'm worried that you're worried that I'm doing, honestly. And it's just like, trash. That's not how a relationship should be worked, or how it should be stayed, like, in that type of way. Like, no, that's gonna make your relationship even worse, honestly. Then you also have the fact that this man Mafu apparently was setting up all these gifts and stuff on Christmas, trying to celebrate their relationship and stuff, this new marriage and all this sort of things. get this gifts and get this cake, get this nice ass room and stuff, possibly got some Henny on the side, it's a nice ass time, only for Rushia to not pop up at all, and then come through, get pissed off, go to sleep, get pissed off again, and then run the hell away and go chill with another dude. That's some nonsense. That is some absolute nonsense if that's true. 100%. Ultimate disrespect. Literally, Mafu Mafu, I'm sorry, but my boy, you got cooked and cooked at the same time. That's unfortunate. And honestly, if I found out that my potential partner is essentially being with somebody else, especially after something like that, nah. Homeboy gotta get cooked. He gotta get cooked real bad, honestly. Right? I don't know how I'm gonna cook him, but I'm gonna cook him 100%. So that's just another damn thing that come through. Right? And lastly, I want to drop off with is inexperience at dating. Because that's where it seems to kind of all come through with, right? The inexperience in, I don't know how things work out and stuff like this. Is this a normal relationship? Co-highs. I haven't called y'all that in a minute. I'm gonna tell you a small little story about your senpai. About the first time he fell for somebody, right? I didn't get to boyfriend girlfriend status as much as I wanted to, really wanted to. It didn't happen, but I tried, right? So there was this one person back in high school that I really liked, and I really thought it was gonna be raps, it was gonna be everything, and there were definitely moments where it felt like we could have gone somewhere, but ultimately it was a no. So I tried just being friends with her and just being chill, and she did understand I did like her and all that type of stuff, even though it took me a minute to understand that, right? That long ass hug in the hallway before we had to basically dip off for summer vacation was honestly like the last times I ever got to do got to really spend any time with her at all, because she was going to graduate next year and I was still like, you know, a junior at that time, about to go into my senior year essentially, right? So, you know, ever since that, I was kind of just feeling like really shitty. Hell, there was a summer where one time I just stayed in my bed because I didn't want to move because I felt lost. Like, without that person, I felt completely incomplete. Can I be real with you? And so, years down the line, I finally got over it, tried to move on. Sometimes she'll pop up in the brain. Sometimes I have to just ignore it and just, you know, not deal with it. It is what it is. Fast forward to 2023. Where I randomly just find her account only for her to be with a whole another guy. The thing that kind of bothered me with this was the fact that she was basically saying back then that she wasn't going to be with anybody because she didn't necessarily think she could be. And then it ended up happening, and then I'm like, you know what? I should have expected this. And yeah, I was a little bit disappointed, but at this point, I'm not really caring. It's literally been, what, damn near 6 years at that point, so it's not necessarily anything crazy, and we wasn't even in that status to begin with, so it's not anything, you know, to worry about. Granted, I still will never forget that shit did hurt a lot though. When I tried my very best, that shit was ass. It was ass. And to be honest, there was nothing toxic about the friendship at all. It was just literally just us chilling. That essentially was it, you know? Nothing crazy onto this level of Mafu Mafu, but it still provided its own level of hurt, and I understand that now. So when I go into another relationship and try again, or somebody comes to me, because that's what I feel like now more than ever, essentially, I'm going to know and be better at, you know, having things to kind of go the way it should, hopefully for me, right? I know a lot more than I did back then, 100%. Definitely, I'm not gonna throw it and hit a whole air ball and mess up the opportunity this time if it presents it to me, and the person is nice and sweet just like she was. So when it comes down to it though, you know, inexperience, it does get with you, right? You can't be, you can be blind and fall in love with somebody, but you shouldn't be stupid. Let your spirit tell you what this person is and what they're thinking and how they kind of are, and let your brain discern, you know, how this should go, right? Is this the person for you? Is it not? And that's something that you just gotta learn, honestly, through experience. It's shitty that you gotta learn like that sometimes, but it is what it is. Because majority of people that feel that way for a person, honestly, would probably be like, alright, I'm not finding anybody else again. I don't want to fall for anybody else again because I don't want to feel that pain again. But for me personally, I do want to find somebody for myself, which, you know, it would be a nice ass thing to not spend a damn Valentine's Day for once alone as shit. But when it comes down to it though, it's something that definitely, has its factors into it. You can't just rush into something thinking it's gonna work and everything's gonna be fine, or you basically have your way with her or whatever, and she has her way with you, and y'all have a nice ass time thinking that sex is the answer, and it's really not. Honestly, Rushia could give you the best head in the world. She could give you the best vagina you ever felt, but at the end of the day, if she's a trash person, she's a trash person. There's no fixing that. Even with correction, there is no fixing that. And then for the people that also really like Rushia as what we see of her online, at the end of everything though, you can have your art and artist separation moment. I do that all the time. Like, if you want to clap the shit out of Rushia as the character and say all that kind of crazy shit, go for it. But when it comes to the real life person, if this is true, you shouldn't be supporting this shit. This is the shit that is the effed up part in all of it, and it's just not great overall. So my whole point when it comes to Rushia and just this whole Mafu situation, whether it's true on Mafu's side, is that hopefully this becomes a learning experience for him, and if he finds somebody again, try not to immediately be so infatuated by a woman's beauty and how they are, because yes, there's a lot of beautiful ass women out there, but you could be Belle Delphine or Hidori Rose. I don't care. If your personality is ass or you high maintenance as shit and you don't apply with my personality, then we're not gonna be on the same damn page. First of all, that's just not gonna happen, honestly, right? Second of all, be a woman of respect. At least this is what I would, want for me. And then third of all, and really the most important one for me personally, and you can say this however you want, but you better be a God-fearing woman. I ain't gonna hold you. You better be, because yeah, that's like one of the most important things above everything else. So yeah, I don't care what you got. I don't care if you got the biggest titties in the world or the fattest ass in the world. If you ain't necessarily matching up to the Lord, it is what it is. I'm gonna be on some Barnabas type beat. We have to do everything for the Lord, right? It is what it is. Like, in all seriousness though, it is what it is. But yeah, really, hopefully for people that is watching this, or really watching the situation with Mafu, hopefully they're learning that, yeah, you gotta be careful with this type of shit, especially with women that is like that, right? And when it comes to Rushia's side, again, she did respond. There's some things that she did confirm, and there's some things that she did, kind of talk about a little bit. But there was also like a feeling that it feels like, at least to me, that she was kind of spinning the shit. It kind of feels like behind the scenes, she's like, damn, I'm getting cooked right now. I gotta figure some shit out. And it is what it is. And another last thing too is that if Mafu is lying, why the hell are you lying, right? That's the strange part. You do realize Japan has a 99.9% conviction rate, right? You just have that type of rate over there. Why would you risk your own life and your freedom for that? I don't think that would be something that's viable, honestly. So if there is some type of thing to take away from it, you're risking a lot of this shit for this one person that maybe potentially hurt you. So it just is what it is on that front. So yeah, but that's essentially what I wanted to talk about when it comes to this one. This is a lot, and again, relationships and things like that is something that is not necessarily my forte completely, but I can definitely tell you when there is somebody that you should have a discernment about, or things like that. I can definitely tell about certain people that is good and who has bad intentions and stuff like that. And a lot of people don't have like a discernment about anything at all these days. So you just gotta be careful, and if you ain't gonna have anybody be having some type of knowledge of what this type of person is, and you don't necessarily know what to do with this type of situation, definitely talk to somebody, because hell, they might give you the answer that you might be needing, honestly. So it is what it is, but you also gotta learn through experience as well too. So that's also another thing when it comes to it. Didn't necessarily think I was going to tell y'all about the whole high school days of my own. That was something I didn't necessarily expect, but you know what? Maybe I needed to bring it out in here. Maybe I can finally put that closing chapter in the book, honestly. So at least for me, that's something. So yeah, you just learned something kind of deep and passionate about your boy. So yeah, take it easy on me. But when it comes down to things, though, I'm not gonna edit this video. I'm just probably gonna put some Kingdom Hearts gameplay or some shit in the background and then just let this shit roll. But that's essentially all I have for you for this one. I may come back and try to do something about the Japanese censorship in games because that shit is an annoying situation. And if not, we'll probably talk about it tomorrow, if anything. So just keep that in mind. And also, there is that Q&A in the community section. If you haven't looked at that, please do drop some questions because your boy will be doing that very soon, hopefully before this week is over. So yeah, that's essentially all I got for you for this one, so hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Also follow me on the socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, this is OJ, signing off. Have a blessed day.